whatever money we borrow to pay for the war just adds to our debt problem, because now we have more debt that we can't repay. But it's also possible that the dollar blows up here, that the world does not want to finance this war. The world was already moving away from the dollar before the war started. They were de-dollarizing.
Economist Peter Schiff warns that the war on Iran could actually further weaken the US dollar and even drag the United States even deeper into debt, something I've been raising concern about on this show. And in fact, his concerns are warranted, to say the least. So let's get into it. So 2 important disclaimers that I want to get out of the way right off the bat, because this is so important. Peter Schiff does have a conflict of interest here. You should know about it. So for instance, he's a big advocate of investing in gold. In fact, he does have a financial interest in getting listeners to invest accordingly. So keep that in mind. Number 2, the dollar has actually rallied since we started this war on Iran. According to CNBC, the dollar is still seen as a safe haven asset. So even though the dollar had been weakened in recent months, especially in the last several months, the war in Iran ended up spooking the investors who took money out of riskier investments and instead decided to park their funds in the US dollar. Okay, so that's what happened after the war started. However, the dollar's rally has slowed down a little bit today. Now, with that out of the way, the war in Iran could open up a whole new can of worms when it comes to inflation. And we should be very worried about that. First, let's go to Schiff's argument, and then I'll fill in the blanks.
The economy, will it be able to sustain such a war with the increase in energy prices? Will it won't impact the US as much as it will impact Europe and Asia?
Well, as long as we can keep going into debt and we can sustain it, as long as we can keep borrowing money. But the problem is, if the Fed has to print all the money and we have a lot of inflation, can we sustain that? Our foreign central banks are moving away from the dollar. Now, it's possible that this war slows down the exodus from the dollar, but it's also possible it speeds it up. And if it speeds it up, then we're even less able to continue the war.